Good morning. My name is Ann Pearl, and I'm your worship associate today. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 113, Where is Our Holy Church? It's in your gray hymnal.
Welcome to the United Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. We have 3 announcements. The board wants to publicly thank Hospitality Team 4, led by Susie Dugas and Eliana Magarinos, for hosting our Sunday coffee hour after the services in September. The board also thanks the UU The Vote team leaders, Ginny Stillman, Daria Gregg, Tina Meyer, and Terry Lucan, for all their organizing work. It resulted in 3,300 postcards and letters sent to people who might be the targets of voter suppression or not realize how important voting is this year. We have recently become aware of phishing attempts to gain access to online church directories or to gain information about members by posing as someone from the congregation. The attempts often come to members from a quote-unquote board member or a staff member, asking them to send them information to update in the database. In a phishing attempt, these requests are, in fact, from spoof accounts. This isn't how we would ever ask for information. In one case, they were asking for the church directory. Before responding to any such email, please confirm the request. Don't reply directly to the email. Send a new email or text or call the person to confirm the request. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. Please join us for conversation after the service. If you are present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for the Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you are just recently joining us and you would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we will make sure you are added to our e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
Our guest minister today is the Reverend Lane Cobb. Reverend Lane is an ordained interfaith minister currently serving the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Westchester in Mohegan Lake, New York. She lives in Tarrytown in her childhood home with her aging parents, for whom she is full-time caregiver. Reverend Cobb is also a volunteer in the town of Greenburgh, where she is co-chair of the Human Rights Advisory Committee and a lead team member of the Greenburgh Restorative Circle Project, a community building initiative that nurtures cross-racial, cross-cultural relationships and encourages civic engagement to support the town's commitment to promote equity and inclusion. Please welcome Reverend Lane.
Thank you for that generous welcome. Good morning. So glad to be here with you again. Margie, what are you doing? Holy smoke. Well, good morning. In the spirit of unification and peace, I greet you with words from Reverend Joe Von Rue and Ms. Lynette Lowe. Reverend Von Rue is lead minister at May Memorial UU Society in Syracuse, and Ms. Lowe is executive director of Central Louisville Community Ministries, and they call this Being Sanctuary. Welcome to this space, this sanctuary of peace, where we come to not only create our best selves, but to also do the work of creating a beloved community. We come together today as individuals, much like individual pieces of glass or pottery that are different shapes, sizes, and colors, all of which are broken with imperfect, jagged edges, but always beautiful. While our pieces may not always fit neatly together, it is within this sanctuary, guided by our principles, that we gather together to create a beautiful mosaic. May the brokenness and beauty you find in one another create in this space, create peace in this space, and fill our hearts with love as we create worship together.
We now invite the children of our congregation to join Miss Jane Podell and ring our bell. Are we doing it 7 times or 8 times?
It's 7 times for 7 values.
Okay. 7 times for our 7 values.
Well, they know we're here now. Good going.
Our chalice reading today is by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Please join me now in our unison affirmation. The words can be found in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to see our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice. Please now rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 121 in your great hymnal, We'll Build a Land. Children will join their religious education program with Miss Jane, and we will sing them out. The words can be found in your order of service. Go now in peace, number 41. I'm sorry, they are not in your order of service. They are in your hymnal. Number 413. I happened to be standing. I don't know where prayers go or what they do. Do cats pray while they sleep, half asleep in the sun? Does the opossum pray as it crosses the street? The sunflowers, the old black oak growing older every year? I know I can walk through the world along the shore or under the trees with my mind filled with things of little importance, in full self-attendance, a condition I can't really call being alive. Is a prayer a gift or a petition? Or does it matter? The sunflowers blaze, maybe that's their way. Maybe the cats are sound asleep, maybe not. While I was thinking this, I happened to be standing just outside my door with my notebook open, which is the way I begin every morning. Then a wren in the privet began to sing. He was positively drenched in enthusiasm. I don't know why. And yet, why not? I wouldn't persuade you from whatever you believe or whatever you don't. That's your business. But I thought of the wren singing. What could this be if it isn't a prayer? So I just listened, my pen in the air. We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We will light our first candle to honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there is also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward. I will light a candle, and you will briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and I will light a candle for you.
I'm Tina. My father passed away on Thursday, and some of you may remember him. In years past, he sometimes performed here with me when we had special music. Yeah, I see some people remember. He was a violist, fiddle player, had a beautiful voice, baritone voice. He sang my whole life. I remember I think I got my gift of harmony from him. So keep Stephen Mayer in your thoughts, and all of us in your thoughts as well. Thanks.
My name is Laura, and this week on Tuesday, my son and his wife had a baby girl. She's healthy. She's 6 pounds, 8 ounces, and her name is Lucy.
Good morning. My name is Betsy. I have 2 double candles of joy and concern. I will try to make them brief. The first one is my son is leaving for Southeast Asia on Wednesday for a 5-month sort of vision quest journey. He will be by himself. I'm worrying about everything a mom can possibly worry about. And I also celebrate and honor everything that he's doing, including publishing a Substack communication about his time over there, to which somebody can subscribe and read some of his quite amazing writing. Pretty keyed up. So the other one is, I have a brother from whom I'm estranged and have been for a long, long time. This is very hard for me to talk about. But a couple of weeks ago, somebody, I don't remember who, got up and lit a candle for her 92-year-old brother with whom she had also been estranged. I don't think that person is here today. And she was reunited. She made a point of resolving their conflicts together, and she was on her way to his 92nd birthday party. And when she lit that candle, I found myself thinking I didn't want to wait until right before my brother was going to be 92. So I called him. I actually texted him, and unlike all the other texts I have sent and phone calls I've made over the last 8 months, he responded. And I'm going to have a conversation with him this afternoon. So, wish me luck.
Hi, my name is Linda, and a journal that I wrote with my dear friend and illustrated is now on Amazon. It took us almost as long to fix the bleed in this book and have it approved as it did to write it. But it's a real joy to now see it there.
Hi, my name's Nanette. I have family in St. Petersburg. And so last week between Milton and Helene, my cousin and his wife had a baby. They were able to get to Georgia, and they already had a little girl, but everything was destroyed. They haven't got anything left to go home to. His sister lives in St. Petersburg too, and also has the same issue. So, they're very strong, and they've got a good family, but oh my. So the new baby is Jessie May.
Hi, I'm Joanne, and I have a joy that last weekend I was very thankful to be with my family, celebrate my sister's 70th birthday in Arizona, and we had an absolutely little mini family reunion, an absolutely amazing time in spite of the 108-degree heat.
We will light one final candle. For all of those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love.
pausing to give space for all that was shared this morning and all that we are holding in our world. The personal and the global. Thank you for the generosity that exists in this community, helping to walk each other through. The Psalms are among the oldest pieces of religious poetry known to humankind. They are filled with raw, honest emotion, lament, hope, anger, and praise. They reflect the struggles of a people seeking to understand their relationship with the divine and with one another. But beyond personal spirituality, the Psalms are also communal cries for justice. They are the prayers of the oppressed, the songs of the marginalized, the cries of people yearning for freedom and collective liberation. And so we explore the Psalms today very loosely, I assure you. As we do that, we do so through the lens of our own times. We see injustice and oppression all around us. Racism, poverty, environmental degradation, countless other forms of suffering, as we know. Like the psalmists, we too cry out for justice. We cry out for healing. We cry out for liberation with our organizing and our activism and our commitment to holding it all with love in the center. And let me say that I am in no way a scholar on this topic. In addition, I am fully aware that conversations about the Bible and God send some UUs running for the exits. So I can promise you this is not going to be a deep dive. And yet these topics serve us as reference points for our faith and also as reference points for all the major world religions. They are reference points for who we have been as collective beings in the history of the world, and also for how we have interacted with that part of ourselves that relates to itself as divine and as connected to something larger than our fleshly existence. Truth be told, we need not understand or even believe in a higher power to find ourselves crying out when we are in pain, when we are afraid, when we are angry and aggrieved or bereft, when our emotions get the better of us, when we are triggered by misfortune or indignity or oppression or evil. It is no wonder that many of us are feeling so overwhelmed, so undercared for, so outpaced and outraged that we find ourselves at the brink of our emotional capacity. And when I say us, I mean me, of course, but also you and the collective us that exists both inside and outside of these walls. And whether that overwhelm leads us to act out in public, cry out in private, or withdraw from life altogether, we can find kindred spirits in the psalmists who cried out for justice, cried out for safety, cried out for connection, and for social change. Today, as we lean into some of their words, we know that their cries still resonate in our world today and likely always will. I came to this topic this morning as I noticed myself becoming increasingly upset with the world and the people in it. And as a congregation of activist organizers, I'm pretty sure you can relate to that conversation. But truth be told, I have become just as upset with myself in the last few years as I've become in many ways less vocal than I had been. Afraid that my emotions will bubble over and hurt someone with whom I am in covenant. Afraid that I may alienate someone with whom I hope to collaborate. afraid that I might disappoint someone who I am charged with caring for and who trusts me to be available even when I feel sad or afraid or angry that the world, in my opinion, is going to hell. And I don't mean literally hell. Lest I have my UU card revoked. Basically, a psalm is really just a really long prayer, right? And many hold them up as an example of how we should pray. The truth is, I've never been a big prayer. I wasn't raised in a praying family. I've always approached prayer with a healthy dose of cynicism. Who am I talking to anyway? Is this making a difference? Aren't I just complaining? And I have been known to complain. A lot. But when I went through training to become a life coach, I realized how unhealthy it is to complain about things that I'm not willing to change. When I became a minister, I realized how unhealthy it is for me to be cynical about my relationship with God. And as an activist, I realized how unhealthy it is for me to bite my tongue. And so I prayed, sometimes out loud, sometimes in silence. I pray the short prayer of a reluctant psalmist who isn't comfortable with praying in public, but who chooses to have faith that there are forces greater than my own that are at work for the good of all humanity. And so I let my complaints spew forth, proclaiming my disgust and my desperation, all the while asking for forgiveness, for guidance, for healing, and for grace. Please, God, give me grace. Asking to be liberated from the tyranny of my own cynicism and for the liberation of the human spirit from the tyranny of greed. Perhaps some of you can relate to prayers like that. So for those who aren't familiar, Psalms have three main components. They are called the 3 Ps: protest, petition, and praise. The psalmist cries out in protest about what isn't working, basically telling God what is pissing them off. Then they petition for help, for healing, for deliverance, for advice. And finally, they offer praise that conveys hope, love, thanks, and contrition. Although we won't have time to do this together this morning, I invite you to consider what it might be like to write your own psalm. What would you protest? What would you petition for? What praise would you offer? And to whom? Sounds simple enough, right? What pisses you off? What do you need? What are you grateful for? So the Psalms have several themes. Lament is the most frequently occurring. Psalm 13 begins with the question, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" This lament speaks directly to the sense of abandonment felt by those who suffer under oppressive systems. How long will we allow systemic racism to continue? How long will the poor be ignored? How long will we allow our planet to be ravaged by greed? Lament is different from complaint in that it is not a passive expression of sorrow. It is a form of protest. While complaints are often tinged with blame and resentment, to lament is to refuse to accept injustice as normal. It is to name what is broken and to call attention to the pain that is too often silenced. Lament is the first step toward change. In our own time, we hear the cries of lament from marginalized communities, people of color, people living in poverty or fleeing war-ravaged countries, immigrants detained at the border, climate activists fighting for our future. These modern-day psalmists call for a world where justice and equity reign and where every person is treated with dignity and respect. And as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to listen to these cries, to amplify them, and to join in the lament that leads to action. Another powerful theme in the Psalms is righteous anger. Psalm 94 asks, "O Lord, how long shall the wicked exult?" This is a cry of outrage against those in power who exploit the weak and oppress the vulnerable. The psalmist does not remain silent in the face of injustice, and neither do we. Righteous anger is as necessary a response to oppression. It is the fire that fuels movements for change. Anger, when rooted in love and justice, can be a powerful force for transformation. It is what drives people to protest. It is what compels communities to demand accountability from systems of power. In today's world, we have a lot to be angry about. The persistence of white supremacy, the growing gap between rich and poor, the destruction of our planet for profit. But like the psalmist, our anger is not about vengeance. It is about demanding that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to transform our righteous anger into action. We know we cannot be passive in the face of injustice. Our faith demands that we stand on the side of love, speaking out against oppression. It is indeed a heavy burden that is meant to be shared, made lighter when we act strategically and in community with each other. One of the most profound aspects of the Psalms is their communal nature. Though many Psalms express individual struggles, they are often written on behalf of a community of people that yearns for collective liberation. Psalm 82 calls out to those in power, give justice to the weak and the orphan, maintain the right of the lowly and the destitute, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. This psalm demands justice for the most vulnerable members of our society. It calls us to act not just for our own well-being, but for the well-being of all. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, but we also know that true liberation cannot happen unless it happens for everyone. Collective liberation is the idea that our fates are bound together and that none of us is free until all of us are free. Last month, some 300 UU congregations worldwide participated in the UUA climate justice revival activities that emphasized this fact. In my congregation, it was a conversation that enlivened and enlightened many folks who came to understand for the first time the intersectionality of climate justice and that we need not work in silos, that extractive economies that threaten us all threaten first and foremost local and global communities of color and the economically disadvantaged. The fight for racial justice, the struggle for economic equality, the battle for climate justice, all of these are interconnected. As we work for justice, we must recognize that we are part of a larger whole. Our liberation is tied to the liberation of others. This is what it means to be in solidarity with the oppressed. It means understanding that their struggle is our struggle. Finally, the Psalms remind us that even in the deepest lament, there is always a thread of hope. Psalm 30 tells us that weeping may linger for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hope is both a central theme in the Psalms and a necessary component to the cries for justice. Hope is not naive optimism. It is the belief that change is possible and that justice will prevail, and as trite as it sounds, that love will win. In the face of overwhelming injustice, it can be tempting to give in to despair. But the Psalms remind us that hope is always present, even in the darkest of times. The psalmist trusts that the night of suffering will end and that a new day will dawn. As Unitarian Universalists, we too must hold on to hope, even when the road to justice seems long and long and long and long. I've been fighting with myself about this. I am not known for my patience. That's true. Thank God I have people in my life that remind me that whether I feel it or not, my work, our work, makes a difference. Thank God for this community and communities like this one. Our hope is grounded in the knowledge that we are not alone in this struggle. We are part of a larger movement for justice and liberation. And together, we are bending the arc of the moral universe towards justice, one step at a time. Thank you for your work. You do make a difference. In summary, I'll just say that the Psalms invite us to cry out for justice, to speak truth to power, and to demand liberation for all people. They remind us that lament, anger, and hope are sacred tools in the work for justice. Crying out in protest, lamenting what is broken, harnessing our righteous anger to fuel change, and holding on to hope and to each other as we work for collective liberation has been and continues to be our work. May we go forth from this place with hearts open to the cries of the oppressed, with hearts, spirits emboldened to fight for justice, and with the knowledge that we are not alone in the sacred work that we do together. May we go forth in peace. May we go forth in love. May our voices join the ancient cries for justice. And may our hands continue to work for the liberation of all. Amen.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty that we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in the spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those that in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with Midnight Run. Midnight Run is a volunteer organization dedicated to finding common ground between the housed and the homeless. For more information, please visit their website, midnightrun.org. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation by a credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, uuchudsonvalley.org. Or if you prefer, you may always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. For our final hymn today, please rise in body or spirit. It is number 1028 in your teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment. Join me now in extinguishing the chalice. The words are also in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of grace, and Spirit of truth, Thou who is known by many names and no name, may we feel your presence in our midst. As we leave this sacred space, may we carry the sacred with us and to know that we are never alone. May we leave this space emboldened by the ancient cries for justice and the modern movements for liberation. May we find strength in our shared commitment to love and to justice and for collective liberation. And may we remember that this work is sacred work indeed. Go in peace.